Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic. You're transported 200 years into the past with a fully charged smartphone but no charger. What do you do? Trading the phone for Louisiana. Don't use it. Find rich person. Demo its uses and leave out the battery stuff. Sell it to rich person for a ridiculous amount of currency. Get as far away as possible. Die of polio. I got 67 gig of memes to educate the human race. Lower my brightness. Without much technical knowledge, not a whole lot. It isn't like the internet was in existence 200 years ago. So unless you had a lot of info saved locally, it isn't very useful. Maybe use it for a flashlight for a while. Somebody needs to make a book called The Time Traveler's Guide. Each chapter is a premise of you being stranded back in time in a different era. It would have information you need to change the world with available technology at the time. Like say how to make gunpowder and a cannon if it was 1300 Z Europe. Maybe there's a book like that out there already, and if so, it's Amazon time. And then in the case of this thread, have the digital copy before you get sent back and go to the 1800 Z chapter and write down what you can before the battery dies. Cry. I'd take photos until my battery would run out. Then I'd leave the phone in some safe place waiting for time to catch up so someone can find it, charge it and find the photos. Turn the phone off and leave it in an attic, live the rest of my days as any other person, on my deathbed, tell my grandchild about the phone and to go look for it. They find it but the battery is probably dead by now and I don't where I'm going with this. I'd show people pictures of my dog. That would be 1819. Lady Ada Lovelace, the inventor of the first working mechanical computer, started working on it in the 1830s. I would find her and Charles Babbage and explain all the advances in computers and software and hardware, i.e. transistor design, in general. I am an electrical engineer with 25 years experience in digital VLSI design and audio signal processing. After teaching them knowledge that wouldn't be known for 150 to 200 years, I would leave with them the working example of a computer more powerful than they could dream of, the smartphone. I would tell them to keep it safe, until technology develops that they can effectively reverse engineer it, though I already would have given them a high-level overview of how it works, from the RF front-end to the back-end application processor. I would also give them a high-level overview of the manufacturing process for such a device. I could teach them how to make a DC power supply to keep the UFO charged, but I don't have the specs on the recharge connector protocol, so it is not as simple as making a DC power supply and then you're done. My hope is that I advance technology by 100 years. However, the best that can hope for is a few decades because advancement in one technology requires advancement in other technologies, some of which I have no expertise in. This is like how the ancient Greeks discovered the basic steam engine. But this didn't cause the Industrial Revolution to happen 2,000 years earlier because the metallurgy required to make vessels that could withstand the high pressures of a working practical steam engine would not be invented for hundreds of years. Also, if Ada Lovelace was hot, I would try to fuck her. Edit. 1. My wanting to fuck her doesn't negate the truth of all the technical stuff said before. 2. To those saying she's 4 years old, I implied that while I would arrive in the world when she was 4, I wouldn't meet her until she started working on the computer, which would put her at -20 YRS of age. 3. Though I'm married, 1833, 1999. So according to temporal boner logic, it's not cheating. Edit 2. 4. Yes, some of you are right, she didn't technically invent the computer, her collaborator Charles Babbage did that. She programmed the machine though. So hardware, Babbage, software, Lovelace. 5. Some of you state that the charging protocol is not complicated and that my DC power supply would work. But I think others correctly point out that only applies to the old USB connectors. This won't work with the lightning connector on a modern UFO. Die of like a million different viruses and illnesses that I am not immune to. Also spread around modern superbugs that will eradicate all human life on Earth. Also take a selfie before I die. Whoever has hardcore history downloaded on their phone is about to be a prophet. Edit, to those of you complained butterfly effect and shit. I just mean publish an article in a local paper about your predictions a month before it happens. It wouldn't cause a ripple at all, and would most likely be looked upon afterwards. Kind of like Ostradamus. Maybe I'd start some sort of religion / cult around this tiny, cold box that makes sounds and has moving pictures, get rich and enjoy the rest of my life. Granted that I'm not going to get executed for witchcraft. Depends on the delivery, I guess. Edit, apparently I'm stupid and can't do math, so thanks guys for reminding me that going 200 years back would get you to 1819, where you probably wouldn't get executed for witchcraft. But still, the thought of starting a cult is very amusing to me. Also, someone mentioned the battery running out, maybe you could demonstrate it a few times and build a myth around you that way. Edit 2, I've created Mormonism. I had no idea. Thanks for making me aware of that. Do I have a chance to prepare? If so, grab an offline copy of Wikipedia with science and engineering topics. Pretty much every phone designed can accept 5 VDC power from the USB port for slow charging. If it were 200 years in the past, we would have voltaic piles available in research labs, but no dynamo. Since each copper/zinc cell has about 5 volts, stack a series of 10 of them together, with piles in parallel supplying power to the phone. Now I can use the phone without having to worry about running out of power. It might be necessary to take the phone apart to connect the external power source to the phone, since I might not have a USB-C cable to cannibalize. At this point, exploit the future's knowledge of geography to buy valuable land for mining, and introduce electricity for industrial purposes about 50 years early. Go all back to the future, part 2, and mail it to myself on a certain date in the future so that I can try and reverse engineer the phone and become the pioneer of smartphones, become a multi-billionaire and rule the phone world if not the entire world. It makes sense, right? Edit, come to think of it, this sounds more like Paycheck with fewer stunts and traveling back in time instead of forward. I'd like to think I would do something super clever and make myself rich, but I know myself better. I'd just play Candy Crush until it dies. Good thing I've downloaded Wikipedia. Find a merchant, preferably one in a royal court, demonstrate the camera /recording abilities and talk up the potential of how you can use it to record and organize your royal life. Downplay /lie when they ask how long it'll last. Get paid as much as possible and then haul ass out of that country and preferably across an ocean as quick as possible. You eat that shit into a river so no one knows I'm a time traveler. Pass off classics like November Rain as my own music. Probably become a slave, unfortunately. It's not like a black woman has freedom to just be around the 1800s. Honestly, I'd vet antibiotics and cancel my Spotify subscription. Those bastards ain't getting me shekels anymore. Find toilet. Browse Reddit. Die of dysentery. Show up to a world fair with my mysterious light box. Make a name for myself as an inventor or at least some mysterious guy with a mystical device. Invent basic electricity generators and computers. Try to charge the phone with a hand generator or something. Try to reverse engineer the phone. Be me. Save Lincoln. Be hero. Sex women. Open Tinder. Oh look, it works exactly the same 200 years from now. Forget the phone. You're 200 years in the past with an intact brain. Invent things that are common today. Invest in the stock market. Ask for the Wi-Fi password. Invent the mobile phone charger. I arrive 200 years in the past. If we go from direct location, I am in the Upper West Side of Manhattan in 1819. My office space is now a farm of a rich resident within the city. After talking to them for a while, I will set out to find Robert Fulton. I am about to invest or work on his USS Ontario, the first steamboat to travel between NY and Ohio. I invest in that shit, railroads, and mills, where they make cloths, and become a robber baron during the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. I give people reasonable time off, and breaks each day, so everybody loves me. With my new cash, and the ability to predict the future, I use my money to go on a few year-long vacation. I immediately head to Illinois. Why, may you ask? To kill Indians? Nope. I need to find a young Abraham Lincoln, who at this point is like 20 and just started becoming a local lawyer. I talk to him for hours pretending to be a client needing representation. We become friends, and then I head down to Maryland. I begin to purchase large amounts of slaves, with the plan to move them out west and free them, starting a black commune, possibly in California where we find gold, and an easy access to income in the Sacramento Valley about 2 decades before the gold rush, where they are able to have a job, receive education, most slaves could read, and live in the relative freedom. I try to buy as many slaves as possible. However, I am looking for a specific young African American. A polymath and possibly the smartest guy in American history, not named Benjamin Franklin, Frederick Douglass. I find him, he's about 10, I free him, and send him to Oxford to school those assholes. Then after all this, I start investing in oil, I hire a young Rockefeller to run the books, then I get JP Morgan to help manage my railroad empire. And last but not least, at 50 as the Civil War begins to dawn, I tell my protégés Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass to handle the situation. I also tell Abe to watch out for Ford's Theater, and then I head off to the Ottoman Empire. The empire is failing and I am willing to make a huge investment if they give me Saudi Arabia. They are desperate and oil hasn't been discovered there yet, so I get what I wish. I also ask them to create a country for the Armenian people, they do. After that I create a democracy in the model of the US in Saudi Arabia. I reach out to the US, and we become allies, normalizing American and the Muslim worlds around 100 years before we actually do. Then I head to the Congo. Fuck the Belgians, I am taking this bitch over. No hands or dicks will be cut off in the name of rubber. I still make a killing on rubber. Bang him back in the US. The Civil War is over and Abe is dead. He did watch out for Ford's Theater. With a large black coalition I am elected to Congress, where I continue Reconstruction for 40 years after it ended in this reality. Race relations are good in the US. After an incredibly successful and long congressional run where I speed up the suffrage movement, and tell the daughters of the Confederacy to kill themselves. As a 90-year-old man, I invest in electric cars, Thomas Edison, Tesla, the Lumiere brothers, the Wright brothers, and Percy Lavo Julian have worked for me their entire lives, as my final frontier. We reverse advertise electric cars, making oil cars seem girly, and that anti-Semitic asshole Henry Ford never makes a dime because I developed the assembly line 40 years before he was born. With billions of dollars I die happily surrounded by my family. I give everything to the commune, the Congo, and Saudi Arabia, and leave a small portion for my family and close friends. In a portion of my will there is very specific instructions. As the new 20th century dawns, a trusted family member opens a safe. In the safe there are instructions to operate a strange square device. It hasn't been turned on since I arrived to this time. My son turns the phone on. The instructions read: the following underlined material is an address in Austria. At this address lives a happy family. That family has a son, he is a baby and very cute. Kill that fucking baby. That baby is named Adolf Hitler. I win the game.